Hello and welcome to That Deacon on YouTube for this October. My name is Anthony Keller. I am a deacon in the Episcopal Church, serving in the Diocese of Los Angeles with my church located in La Cañada, California. If you haven't heard of La Cañada, it's about 8 miles west of Pasadena, California. This month on That Deacon on YouTube, I'm going to share 2 things, including one aside. Let's start with the simple stuff. Well, if you remember, last time I talked about a class that my rector and I had decided to offer. It was entitled Ethics, the Final Frontier. In fact, I was quite happy with the little handbill that I created. If you notice the starting date of the class, I found a website that, believe it or not, will actually attach a start date to any date that you give. So the actual start date for our class, if you're really a Star Trek nerd, is correct. We've seen 2 episodes. The first episode was entitled The Measure of a Man, and it has to do with the problem when Data, the robot that serves on board the Enterprise, is thought to be not a sentient being, and he's a robot, and someone wants to take him apart. So it ends up going to trial. The second episode we watched last week was from the first Star Trek series, the original, entitled The Corbomite Maneuver. And that has to do with a menacing perception that someone is an enemy, showing strength, showing the strength of Kirk, butting heads with that person, only to find out later that all that person wanted was to get to know the people of the Enterprise and not destroy them. So it has to do with our take of xenophobia, maybe, or also the problem when we are confronted with someone who talks big and is really different than they perceive to be. So those 2 episodes were quite good, and we enjoyed a very good conversation. Using Star Trek as a jumping off point to discuss ethics has been a real plus. So if you want to think about a class to bring people together, I would suggest looking at Star Trek. It's a good model. Last Saturday, I spent the day with deacons from the Diocese of Los Angeles, and we have our annual day to be spent with our bishop. This year, we spent the day with our Bishop Coadjutor, John Taylor. And at this meeting, we sit down in groups, we have a few exercises, we kind of talk about things that we're doing, ways in which we can promote the diaconate across the diocese. And it's also a good chance for all of us to check in and see what we're doing and offer words of encouragement and a listening ear to those who are doing some great work around the Diocese of Los Angeles. Last summer, we not only had the consecration of our Bishop Coadjutor, we also heard of the retirement of our Archdeacon, Joanne Leslie. So we found out we not only have 1, but 2 archdeacons. But once again, Los Angeles is trying something a little bit different. Our new ordained archdeacon is Deacon Charlene Crean, who has been a deacon for a long time now and will bring to us great leadership and wonderful, abundant spirit and a wealth of experience. We also have a layperson who is also one of our, what do they call him? A archdeacon associate. There we go. I had a chance to talk with Hank Gatlin about his new role in the diocese, and this is what he had to say.
The bishop asked me to be the associate to the archdeacon this year. and was installed along with the new archdeacon in August of 2017. And about 6 or 7 years prior to that, Bishop Bruno asked me to be a coordinator for Fresh Start to help co-teach that for the deacons. And it was then that I was first introduced really to the ministry of the deacons. And I was hoping to be able to give, and I keep trying to give to help the deacons, but I receive so much more in return I have friends here and learn about ministries. The very first Fresh Start meeting that I was at, I was asking all sorts of questions about the deacons, and the first question, I remember one of the questions I asked was, so, what ticks you off? Is there anything that ticks you off about being a deacon? And one of the people who was with us today said, it's when I'm standing in the receiving line after church and someone comes up to me and says, so when are you going to become a priest? I don't want to be a priest, she said. I want to be a deacon. I want to be in the world. And it was that story I have told over and over again, because it cuts to the thick of it. It tells people, and it tells people in my congregation, people that I work with in my deanery and the diocese, trying to tell them what the deacons do.
During our time at Deacons Day, I got together with a couple newly ordained deacons, and I asked them what they've been up to since they've been ordained. And they were kind enough to share some of what their ministry is and the things that are developing in their life and work out in Orange County, California. Here's what they had to say.
My passion in my ministry as Director of Spiritual Care and Ethics for a major hospital is standing along and locking arms with people as they navigate the many times of life across the board, be it being born, dying, caring for children, working for advanced care directives, serving children. Another thing I'm very, very passionate about is Episcopal Relief and Development. I'm a co-coordinator as assigned by the bishop for Episcopal Relief and Development for the Los Angeles Diocese.
My passion all of my life has been supporting people who don't have a voice, who are sort of on the margins. And currently that's translating to folks who are immigrants in Orange County particularly. And I'm working on a project now that will provide training for immigrants, give them one-on-one legal advice. We have a workshop coming up that is we're very excited about. And quickly following that is a second workshop for people in our parishes, churches throughout the county, who can be trained on visiting detainees. We have a number of detainees locations in Orange County. These are people who are not criminals. They are people who have been picked up because they are undocumented. And I've come to recognize that it's a great opportunity for people in the pews and a great opportunity for the church to do meaningful work in the community. And I think that is the thing that I'm most passionate about right now.
About a little over a year ago, summer of 2016, I said yes to a request from my rector to work part-time at my parish as coordinator of shared ministries. And so we've been able to start a few new programs. We started ministry to our seniors that we call SAGES, Senior Adult Group of Episcopalians, and getting them together and bringing speakers for them and doing field trips for them. We took them to Harbor Interfaith in San Pedro, and this is probably a core ministry that is developed for our parish. And it happened with the Blue Ben. Now the Blue Ben ministry is in our parking lot in the back, and it's kind of hidden by the trees, and we have a clothing donation bin. And when we got there was people were donating and they were sorting, and maybe we had a couple people involved in the ministry. We made a plea for people to help, and we now have about 12 to 15 volunteers. and we sort every week or two. That ministry is just it's just gone continue to grow. And out of that, we also started we're a little late to the party, but we started Seeds of Hope at our church. And we've now planted 17 fruit trees, and we have 3 more coming. And 3 of them, the last 3 are going to be by the Town and Country Nursery School. And they'd asked that we plant trees that have small fruit so the children can pick them for themselves, and also donating them because they want to model that behavior. And so we're going to put in some clementine trees for our final 3. And then also we've been working with our community and our parishioners to pick the fruits from their trees on their homes. And during this last summer, we donated over 1,000 pieces of fruit to Harbor Interfaith, and then also to the St. Luke's Breakfast Ministry in Long Beach that we help with. So those are kind of exciting things. And it's all because of years ago when the bishop said, hey, would you like to work with the deacons? And so I say thank you to that, and what a blessing the diaconate is to many, and what a blessing the deacons of Los Angeles are to so many.
And as I leave you this month, I've given a lot of thought about the metoo movement that we have seen crop up across different social media platforms. And as I thought about this, I thought about ways in which our society continues to support this type of demeaning behavior. One of those things that came to mind was beauty pageants. Don't you think it's time to do away with beauty pageants? I mean, really, it's about time. I did some double checking and found out that the grandmother of them all, I guess if it has to do with women, but the grand beauty pageant was Miss America. And that pageant continues to hold some sort of popularity across the country. Well, I found out that the reason it was started was not to give women a leg up, or women a scholarship, or to give them prize money, or to give them exposure to get their talents seen across the United States. No, the Miss America pageant was created only to bring tourism to Atlantic City. So if that's not a reason to end that beauty pageant, look at the other reasons for them in various forms across these United States and the world. I think it's time for us to grow up, get rid of them, and enter the 21st century. So why not pick up the pen, pick up your fingers, pick up your keyboard, and write a letter to someone stating that it's time for these pageants to be put away for good. I think it would do us a lot of good, and it would not support the type of behavior that would cause other women in the future to write Me Too. Thank you very much for watching this week. I'll see you next month. We'll be on the road, so I won't tell you where I'm going, but we're going to have a great visit next month. Until that time, this is Deacon Anthony Keller saying goodbye. God bless, be well, and get busy doing something good out in the world. Bye-bye.